Yo, 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 what's up? It's Nate Wood. I'm back for another vlog. It is Thursday, December 5th. Crazy that it is already December of 2019. Time has been flying. I want to get right into it. I'm talking tonight about my journey as a hip hop artist and what it's produced, why I'm doing what I'm doing, taking you back a little bit to when I made this decision to become a hip hop artist, what it's looked like, what some of the patterns have been that have kept me from fully experiencing everything that God has had for me. Hoping that you take a look at these patterns that I've had in my life and you're able to take a look at your life, maybe take something from them and apply it to you so that you can live the life that God has for you. I'm also going to be sharing a little bit about what this journey has brought me, um, what God's been showing me, cast a little bit of vision, and then I have a short little message at the end. So I'm going to try to fit this in as quickly as possible. I thank you all so much who have been following me over the years since I put out my first mixtape. I know there's a few of you out there you may not be watching, but I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for everybody who was along with me in 2015 and 2016. 2017, if you were with me, greatly appreciate it. 2018, and even now going into 2020, it has been quite the journey, and I'm extremely thankful for it. There have been triumphs, there have been lows, there have been victories, there have been heartbreaks, there's been a lot. One thing I did want to say, however, is that as far as YouTube goes, which I've talked about in previous vlogs, is a direction that I'm heading in 2020. I very much consider myself a beginner, even though this journey, really the personal decision was made back in 2013. But I come from a humble place. I'm learning as much as I can. I understand that I'm deficient in some areas in terms of being a communicator, but we all know that the Lord uses our weaknesses to to make us strong, because he gets the glory when it's done through him. Something like that in Corinthians, because when I'm weak, I'm strong because of Christ. If you know the Bible, you know that one. But anyways, so talking about my journey, like I said, 2013, I made this decision. I'll never forget it. I'm gonna pursue being a hip hop and rap artist. I'm gonna go the unconventional way, even though the conventional way seems like that is what's going to make the people in my life happy. So making that decision obviously was difficult. I told my mom and dad. They didn't think it was the best idea. That didn't stop me, but there have been some patterns that I've been able to recognize that have tripped me up over the last few years. And what's great is these circumstances that I'm in currently have made these patterns so out in the forefront. I want to talk about them tonight, and I want to talk about them in a way that hopefully you can relate to. I'm going to take a step forward, and eliminate these patterns in my life. I hope you do the same thing. So here they are. I'm recognizing that as I am getting to meet people, that I am presenting myself to people in a different way. And the way I'm presenting myself to people, whether it is people that I've known in the past that I've had relationships with, or new people that I'm meeting in my life, is that it comes from a place of thinking about what somebody else is thinking and caring what they think, and then putting value on the judgment they place on me for me being me. That has been something that has altered the way that I show up and present myself to other people. Pattern, right? The other one, it's very similar, but it's a little bit different. And this one is caring about how other people feel in general. So that means me showing up in my truest form is going to affect the way you feel. So I'm not going to show up in a way that is what's true to me because I'm worried about how you feel and I want you to feel good. So those are two different things. They're two patterns that I've recognized. And moral of the story in conclusion is that if you don't show up in your truest form as yourself, and you worry about what other people think and how other people are judging you, you're only hurting yourself, and you are diminishing the quality of the relationships that you can potentially have with other people. So literally, if you don't show up and be who your truest self is and you're worried about other people judging you, you're literally diminishing yourself, and you're literally diminishing the quality of the relationships that you could be having if you showed up as yourself. That's what I learned from that. The other thing, caring about what other people feel, I think simply put, how other people feel is not my responsibility. So me showing up in my truest form and you being insecure about how you feel because of who I am is not my problem. So those are really the things that I've recognized. Those are the cycles that I've seen. This has been continual for pretty much my entire life, certainly since I made this personal decision to become a hip hop artist. And these current circumstances that I'm going through right now have allowed me to recognize the cycles, and it's time to move forward. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it that I wanted to talk about I'm going to come back to this whole idea of vulnerability, which I've talked about before in a previous vlog. So what I've recognized is that I have not had an issue with walking in faith and leading up to the moments that lead to this big moment of taking a step in faith and putting myself out there and being vulnerable. That hasn't ever been the issue. What's been the issue is when I take that step of faith, how I am after that and actually being firm, secure, and confident in who I am after taking that step. Like I said, with vulnerability, there's always a risk, because when you are vulnerable, you risk another person being able to reject you, to not accept you, to betray you, or to walk away from you. And that can be a very scary thing in relationships. And I think the pattern that I've noticed is I am vulnerable, but then after I'm vulnerable, I become insecure about the step that I took. And I wish I could take the step back, but in reality I can't. And that's just a pattern, because what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to take these steps in faith and then be calm and secure and confident, even if it means going through a wilderness season, even if it means feelings of loneliness, even if it means extended periods of singleness. And this is a tough one. Trust me, I know, but I've been thinking a lot about this one, and I think it is so huge that we get this one down. I'll talk about that hopefully in another video. But anyways, those are the cycles and the patterns that I've recognized. I hope that they speak to you in some way and you can think about them and perhaps make decisions in the future that help you go down the path that you're meant to go down. So there you go. Now, I wanted to just talk about my journey just as a whole, and really just talk about, some of the cast vision on some of the things that I want to do, but then also tie you back and talk about Jesus a little bit. So won't be too long, last few minutes here, but really what I've recognized due to circumstances that I'm currently going through. So my favorite thing to do is I love just getting up on the stage and with the music that I've created, and I love to just perform in a way that I give my entire self to the audience. And really what I envision myself doing, especially in 2020, is I want to work on this new album, Shift. I think it's turning out great so far. I want to continue to vlog like this, and then I want to put out a music video for each song on Shift and really grow the base of my YouTube channel and get the music out there, because I think that's the most effective way for me to get my music out there. I want to depend on the Holy Spirit to reach the lost and touch them in a way that perhaps influences them to think differently and be directed towards Christ so that they can find actually new hope and new life. And I want to encourage actual Christians out there, people who are walking with Christ, and just encourage them and allow the music to speak to them emotionally in a way where they're encouraged and affirmed and confident that, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So that's my goal from there, I want to grow that up, and I want to be able to just reach as many people as possible doing this. I want to be able to direct the music back to the website, which then directs to my services to perform, which then gives me more opportunities to perform and just more opportunities to reach more people. That's what I feel like I'm called to do. It is so much more easier said than done. These current circumstances that I'm in right now, specifically this week, I got some news that really rocked my boat a little bit. And, you know, when I've gotten put into an uncomfortable situation in the past, how I've thought about it in the past is different than how I think about it now. Sometimes how I've thought about it in the past has been very negative and very, really just, an unmet expectation that then makes me upset and brings a lot of negative emotion in because it wasn't what I was expecting it to do, and resistance came, and then discomfort came, and then I questioned what I was even doing. Now, what I'm realizing as I'm getting to know God more and growing in God more is sometimes when our situations are bringing discomfort, that's actually God's grace, because that discomfort is actually what causes movement and change. Like, there's no greater agent of change sometimes than when you're angry and uncomfortable with life, and that's really what causes you to change. And like, that's God's goodness, because we need to move so that we can walk in what God has for us and walk in our purpose. And sometimes it takes discomfort to do that. So I think that's just, not thinking of discomfort as being like this punishment, but it as actually being God's grace. So with all that being said, I talk about these goals and these visions that I have, and with how it looks in my current circumstance, I know what I need to do, but when I actually think of like the logistical way of how this is going to be done, that is where I'm not sure exactly how that's going to happen. And based off of just people that I've studied in the past, based off of people that I look up to, based off of conversations that I've had, and based off of my own studies of God, this whole situation is very common to the way God chooses to operate in our lives. We are only given a piece of God's great plan in our lives, one piece of perspective that we are to remain obedient to. The rest of what happens as a result of our obedience is completely up to God, and He doesn't show us that, so when things happen, He can get all the glory for it. And that's something that I'm just starting to become more and more comfortable with. It really helps the whole idea of talking about taking the step of faith and vulnerability, and then just standing firm and secure with that decision. So I got these goals, I got these dreams, I have these things that I want to accomplish in my life. But the last thing I wanted to say is that I'm based off of my journey and based off of the things that I have accomplished in my life and the things that I have had. I'm definitely not convinced that there is anything that God can bless me with in the future that is greater than what He's already placed on me, inside of me today. So, like I was talking about before, the journey has been, there's been hills, there's been valleys, there's been periods of loneliness, singleness, depression, all these different things. And really those things have produced, which is what I'm trying to get back to, because Jesus has been there the whole time. Those things have actually produced joy and peace and love and hope that can't be replaced by anything else. So I only say that because it's good to have like the visions and the goals that you want to accomplish. But if you're striving for those things and you're depending on those things to be your reward instead of just being content in Jesus and Jesus alone, I think you're going to have you're going to come to a really difficult place. And I think Kanye West said it best on Jesus is King, his new album. He said, "We got everything we need." And I take that very seriously, that Jesus is enough. And I hope that anybody out there listening just takes this inside here and just receives that, because he is. And he loves you, and you can always depend on him. And he's going to lead you to a great place that honors and glorifies God and is for your good. So that's my message for y'all tonight. And again, if you're watching this and you're in the Milwaukee area, I'm going to be performing at this awesome event. It is ATK Ministry partnering up with Chikari Cars Kicks for Kids, nonprofit fundraiser raising money for underprivileged kids so that they can have Christmas presents during the holidays, and also grow and expand hip hop ministries. It's going to be awesome. I hope to see you there. I'm looking forward to the next time that I can get on here and share some more thoughts. And also know a music video is going to be coming shortly. Hope you all check that out. And yeah, man. Peace and love to y'all. Have a good one.